Welcome to another episode of The Marketer's Edge, a series designed to share a senior level marketing perspective about marketer challenges, opportunities, and agency relationships. Our goal is to help marketers and agencies learn from other marketers across different industries. Today, we're talking with Amanda Kantor, the marketing manager at Saucy Brew Works in Cleveland. Amanda, how are you doing today? Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy Friday. So I've
Sure.
got a small handful of questions for you, but before we dive into those, can you tell me a little bit about Saucy Brew Works and what you do for the organization? I'd like our audience to know what kind of company it is and what you do for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Saucy Brew Works was born and brewed in Cleveland, Ohio. We opened up in 2017. We originally started with, just making the local craft beer, being ingrained in our community. From then, we have expanded rapidly over the last couple of years. This year will mark our 7-year anniversary. Since then, we've opened up multiple tap rooms in different cities across from Ohio. And then we are also acquiring other breweries too. And we've also expanded into the coffee business. So you can now start and end your day with Saucy Brew Works.
Wow, nice. I don't think I've seen many breweries entering the coffee business. So you say you've got how'd you characterize them? Like tasting stations throughout Ohio? Is that what they are?
Yeah, so we have like multiple brew pub tap rooms.
Okay.
So our main one is out of Cleveland, Ohio,
Right.
Hingetown, Ohio City. And then we have one out in Beechwood, which is about 30 minutes east of Cleveland, called our Pinecrest location. We have Sandusky, Ohio, about an hour west, the Columbus Brew Pub as well. And then we also acquired Cartridge Brewing. And then actually about a month ago, we opened up our first standalone coffee shop in the new Fairfax Meyer downtown across from the Cleveland Clinic. And so that's been super exciting.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I read in a LinkedIn post by your CEO, Brent Zimmerman, about the $200,000 that was raised via crowdfunding platform called Start Engine. I'm curious, why was the money raised? What is it going to be used for? If you feel comfortable sort of sharing that with us.
Yeah, I mean, of course. So the crowdfunding is a great way to get people that are interested in your business to be part owners.
Okay.
So they are able to help us raise capital. They get perks for doing it. They are part of helping us make decisions. And then they're part of us when we are opening up new locations. So it's a really great way to tie in people that like craft beer, like coffee, want to see their communities grow. And that's what we're doing through that platform.
Okay. Okay. So money's being used for like acquiring other breweries and expanding and things like that.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, you can find a lot of information on our Start Engine page itself. Goes over the updates, the new products we plan to do.
Oh, cool.
So all the information's on there, which is
Okay,
great.
that's great. That's great. So yeah, you talked about coffee houses, which is kind of interesting. I kind of feel like breweries have become like coffee houses. Like there's one around every corner. I know not literally, but there are a lot of breweries for sure. How does a brand like Saucy Brew Works differentiate itself from its competitors?
Yeah, I think we're always trying to find what the next new thing is, or if it's something that a lot of people are doing, we try and figure out how to make it better. So our team is very innovative. We are very hands-on. You can have a plan for a week and it's going to change the next day because you need to change something up. Or my favorite example is back in November, there was the big Ohio State-Michigan game. A month before that game, we were like, you know what, with all the Michigan stuff going on, let's have a little fun. And we came out with Stealing Signs, which is our 2.0 beer. We actually did that back with the Astros. That was the first Stealing Signs. So with that, we basically, on the whim, created a can label, got the beer made, did labels, and that was incredible. And basically all of my plans for the entire month were gone because we were all just doing Stealing Sign stuff, the news coverage, the press. That beer sold out in an hour
Oh,
at all of our locations. It was wild. But I think stuff like that is why we differentiate ourselves, because we're fine to be a little edgy, have fun. We want to have a product that people actually want to consume and enjoy.
right, right. Are you seeing any consolidation in the industry? You talked about acquiring that, I think it was Carthage Brewing. Are you
Mhm.
seeing a lot of that among breweries in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think I've seen it more than lately. Unfortunately, I think just with the economy, inflation, it's expensive to, run your own company and the cost of goods and everything.
Right.
So, unfortunately, I think we are seeing more local breweries, businesses close. So with us, we want to try and save them. We want to, keep their legacy going on, make them better. And I think that's something we're going to continue to try to do.
That's cool. So, like when you acquired Carthage, did they keep their brand name?
Yes, absolutely. So Cartridge Brewing is the same that it was.
Okay.
They're only about 2, 3 years old. So
Okay.
they're out in Maineville, Ohio, a little bit north of Cincinnati.
Okay.
So that brand has stayed the same. We left it. It's in an old ammunition factory. It's too beautiful to touch. So we wanted to keep it true to its roots. It's now managed by our team. The entire staff stayed on, all management. So it's been a great transition.
Yeah, I would imagine there's got to be a real balance that you have to strike. I mean, the beauty of the brewery industry is so many of you started, small craft, limited production and have built yourself up, still maintaining sort of that hometown local flavor. So it makes sense that you'd let a brand like Carthage sort of keep its identity and just give it the resources that it needs to grow and become a better brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our plan.
That's great. That's great. So I'm curious, like how do you? I was thinking about my experience with breweries. One of my favorites down here in Cincinnati is Mad Tree, and I don't see a lot of like communication from them about trying to get me back in or back in more often. How do you keep customers interested in coming back to Saucy Brew Works?
Yeah, well, I think it first off begins with the experience that they have the first time they come in the tap room. You want it to be a pleasant experience. You want them to enjoy the food, enjoy the beer, come with friends, and be like, this was such a great time. Like, I need to go back. So, first off, that's our hospitality. That's our staff being trained, making sure the quality of food and product going out is to our standards. But then, besides that, goes the layer of we use our Toast, which is our POS system. They have a marketing part of it where you can send out notifications, emails to your clientele. And so with that, we've actually started testing where you can send coupons to them. So, it's we haven't seen you in a month. Come on in, here's a $5 off.
Okay.
So it's kind of working in that way, a hand in hand. So I think we do have a returning customer base already, which has been phenomenal, but we want to keep building it. So we're looking at tools like that.
Got it. And how do you, kind of along the same lines, how do you attract new customers into the fold to get them to try you for the first time?
That is honestly, I think a lot of it's still like the grassroots marketing. It's
Okay.
the word of mouth. So when we go into a new city or a new community, we really try to get to know that community. So we're partnering with local organizations, businesses, influencers to kind of help spread the word. So we're using that, but then of course you still have your paid social, the stuff like that to try and get the word spread through that. And then also, I think, like I mentioned earlier, we have a beer fest tonight in Cleveland. Those are so important because that's your demographic.
Yeah.
You have craft beer enthusiasts from the entire state going to be in one building for 2 days. So that is where we want to go. We want to shine. We want them to try our beer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So you characterize yourself as sort of a tech savvy professional in LinkedIn. I'm curious, how has technology found its way into the business of breweries?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy. AI has, I mean, unbelievable the capabilities that has.
Yeah.
So I think we're trying to look at stuff. I've been amazed seeing breweries that have done their own beer recipes through an AI. They told an AI, hey, I want to make a hazy IPA. And they put it through, and they've actually brewed that. We have not done that, but I think that's crazy that that's kind of where the
Right.
world may be going. On our side for the marketing, I think ChatGPT has been such a great tool to utilize because it kind of spits out ideas for you. So that's something I use personally because I do all of our social media and marketing. So, sometimes you can write the same sentence over and over again. I'm like, I just need a fluff word kind of to make the sound a little bit different. And I'll plug it in and I'll be like, make this sound more cool or whatever the vibe is I'm trying
Yeah.
to go for. and it'll spit out some examples, and then I tweak it a little bit more into our saucy wording, but I think that's been really cool to use.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else that's interesting from a technology standpoint that you're doing in the marketing of your brand?
We're really just kind of sticking with that. I think we're just looking into it. I know there's our graphic designer has used there's a Photoshop AI where you can basically take a product and then change the background on it. So we took a beer can and we were able to put it on a beach, and it looks so real. So I think that stuff is really great, especially for breweries or just businesses in general that don't have that much technology, like knowledge to do that, is that there are going to be tools for them to use going forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm curious, do you currently use any agencies at Saucy Brew Works? And if so, what are you most often using them for?
Yeah, so we currently have a team of three. It is myself. I have a marketing director of what I do, and then our graphic design, Joe Bacco. He's been with the company from the beginning. And then we have a graphic designer, Marissa Lee. So it is a team of three of us. We do everything for our brand, our brew pubs, the sales. So we all have a wide range of experience and knowledge. So we're capable of doing a lot of great things.
Right.
The things that we go to an agency for example, is the Start Engine campaign. So we currently have an agency through Start Engine that is doing all the paid ads for us, the targeting, the SEO, and that's been super helpful because they are so knowledgeable on that aspect, and that kind of lets us focus on the other things we need to do.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Yep. So as you think about sort of the agency world, what would you characterize as their biggest challenge as we sort of make our way through 2024?
I think it's just that the evolution of marketing and technology is ever changing. I think every week there's a new trend, there's a new tool to use, and it's kind of just staying up to date. And I think with agencies, to have different businesses to know what their needs are and know what the newest tool or trend is that you can use to help them advance. So I think it's just ever changing and just trying to stay up to date on things. We try and read a lot, do segments, seminars, and it's just a rotating process. So,
Yeah. So same question, but for marketers, what would you characterize as their biggest challenge as we kind of roll our way through this year?
I think it's still the same thing, staying up to date on everything. But I also think it's how I mentioned a little bit earlier of how to differentiate yourself from other brands like you, other businesses. I mean, in the brewery industry, we're all making the same product. So it's how can you make it a different hazy IPA than the five other hazy IPAs down the street from you. So I think it's just always trying to be one ahead of everyone else is how you're going to make your product stand apart. So just trying to keep up to date on that.
Yep, yep. So do you think about Saucy Brew Works as sort of a food and beverage destination, or do you think about it more as an entertainment sort of destination experience, or is it somewhere in between? How would you sort of define? Yeah, I'm thinking about sort of how you position yourself and who you view as your competitive set. Is it, other breweries, or does it go bigger and broader than that?
Yeah, I would kind of say we're going to be in that middle. So
Okay.
in the beginning, we started out as, focusing on the beer, focusing on a menu that people wanted. We won Best Pizza in Cleveland 3 years in a row. So it really did become that place where we have great pizza, we have great beer, you get both. And then we add in a bunch of TVs, a projector screen, and now it's a place to watch sports games, playoffs, pregame for the Browns games. We're so close. So with that, though, I think then you are also pulling the demographic from a normal restaurant where, you have parents that want to go have pizza and have a beer and watch the game, but they want to take kids, but they don't want to take kids to a quiet place so they can go to a brewery because it's a little bit louder. So I think it's kind of pulling in that. And then to the point of the last part, yeah, I think we are kind of all competing together at the same point. So it's just want to have an option for everyone.
Yeah.
So we also have non-alcoholics. We have mocktails because not everyone drinks. So you have to think about that. We have a whole vegan menu. So it's kind of just to kind of stand apart from everyone else that we could have something for no matter who the person is.
Yeah. I would imagine there's pressure on breweries to bring all of that stuff to bear because the brewery down the street has the full menu and is servicing to different tastes and preferences. Would imagine that where you just started out as a brewery, it's really evolved much more so. So it's interesting just as a category, how much it's changed over the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I went to the Ohio Craft Brewers Association conference in January in Toledo, and they had a presenter there, and he basically pulls all the Google reviews of breweries and businesses, and it was that actually like 60% of Google reviews are about your food. They don't mention your beer anymore, so it really has, which was kind of shocking because you're like, I'm a brewery. Well, no, you're now a restaurant that serves beer. Is kind of
Wow.
what people think. So I think that's kind of, as I've mentioned, trying to stay up with the trends of things is like looking at what you're offering, what people are saying.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked by that as well.
Yeah,
So,
that's interesting. I mean, that has real implications for marketing in terms of, if you were to target me, I'd care less about the food at Mad Tree, and I'm more into, getting a nice glass of their, my
mhm.
favorite beer there. But there are, plenty of people that feel differently about that. So that's really fascinating that stat. So just a couple of last questions for you. Any advice you give to marketers, in the brewery industry in general, whatever, thinking about bringing a new agency on board?
Yeah, I would do the research. Think about what you want to see your brand accomplish, and learn how to do it. Bring an agency in to help you make it even better. So that's my advice: is kind of just always stay up to date and find the ones that can help you achieve that.
Okay, that's great. And my last question is, if an agency was trying to knock down your door and attempting to win business from you, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, we are knocked on our door numerous times a day. So, and like I said, it's kind of just the fact of I'm so lucky to have such a great team at Saucy Brew Works. So, my advice to the ones coming to us: find something that we can't do, and then we'd be happy to partner together. So, yeah, I love a good pitch. But yeah, I'm always looking if there's something I can't do, then that's who I want to work with. So,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's just kind of
So,
learning about us. So, it's a big
okay,
thing.
so all the agencies watching are going to want to know what can't Amanda and her team do.
It's a secret they'll have to find out.
Yeah, for them to figure that out. Huh? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Actually, I have one last question
Yeah.
for you. What is your favorite type of beer at Saucy Brew Works?
My favorite style of beer is a hazy IPA. So I love our Love You Buy, ironically, love and love. It's an Imperial Hazy IPA. It's 8%. It is
Nice.
nice and smooth. I don't like beers that are super hoppy in IPAs, and so that one you can really kind of taste the citrus through it. So I really enjoy that. And then, of course, our Juicy ASAP, which is our flagship IPA. Again, it's not bitter. It's a little hazy, but it's fruit forward, but you still have the hop. So it's kind of that perfect in between mix.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I appreciate you making the time today,
Thank you.
particularly
Yeah.
given you've got the big event this evening. I wish you all the best with that. It should be exciting.
Thank you.
I wish I was there. And but yeah, no, thanks so much, and appreciate you making the time, and hope you have a great weekend, Amanda.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You too.
All right.